there's like a really interesting little tidbit in it, which is basically going back to the HOLAC, the House of Lords Appointments Commission. So those are the people who told Rishi Sunak that Nadine Dorries was not making it into the House of Lords. And the Prime Minister can override that, but they don't. Traditionally, it's a really big move. The only Prime Minister to have ever overridden it in history is Boris Johnson himself, and that was to get Evgeny Lebedev into the House of Lords.
I quite like the image of in Boris Johnson's head. He's like, well, you just override it. It's just what you do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really see what the problem is, Rishi.
It's so spoilt, isn't it? It's like exactly what you'd expect from his personality. Like, I will have my way no matter what.
I guess Boris Johnson's quit because he lied, right? That's essentially what happened. He gets the report back from the committee and it finds him to have misled Parliament and he quits. And the thing about this with Boris Johnson is that it's not surprising. It is his MO. The man is as allergic to the truth as I am to pollen. I have taken it.
That was a zinger.
Zing! He's been sacked twice for lying. Once by the Times for fabricating quotes. I think that was in 2004 maybe. No, in the 80s. That was in the 80s. And then he was sacked by the leader of the Conservative Party for lying about having an affair. So that's lying about a lie, because presumably he will have promised his wife at the time to love and cherish her.
Maybe a lesson there.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. He blamed the Liverpool fans for Hillsborough. On the front of the 2019 Conservative Party manifesto, he said his party would not increase national insurance. They have done. He told his ethics advisor that he didn't know who paid for the redecoration of the Downing Street flat. Then the WhatsApp messages came out of him messaging Lord Brownlow, asking for more money to renovate the Downing Street flat. He lies. He relentlessly lies over and over and over again. And when he gets caught, he runs away. Yeah. Scared of the electorate, won't face a by-election. Farewell, Boris Johnson.
And if you needed any more evidence that Boris Johnson lives in our heads rent-free, Ollie did that without any notes.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking into your two's eyes. I just think when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And he's been showing us for a really long fucking time. I didn't even mention Brexit.
No.
That was quite a long list. I mean, fuck me, he's gone. But should we talk about the consequences a little bit more, because it's going to lead to by-elections, and there's also this question. I think the front page of the Mail on Sunday was Tory war. There may or may not be some kind of civil war going on in the Tory party around this. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I guess perhaps you'd say the Mail on Sunday is slightly a Boris siding paper, and I think him, Nigel Adams and Nadine Dorries quitting is less of... Boris is a big beast, but at the end of the day, it's three MPs that are kind of past it now over the hill.
No, but it's important because it's totally unprecedented that you would have this many by-elections without death or sickness. Like, you've got to remember, the only reason that they're going up to another by-election is because they're arguing at the top. It's like two little children squabbling about who gets the honours, who gets the merit badge. And so the whole country gets turned, upside down. Mental.
That's what... It's the presumption of what I object to, of, I should be a member of the House of Lords. Nadine Dorries has said that Sunak and James Forsyth have blocked a working class girl from Liverpool.
Fuck off, she's from Crosby.
I think
I don't want to get into the dynamics of Merseyside about...
Because you don't know it, do you?
Yeah, that's why.
I think she has come from a working class background. She called Forsyth and Sunak posh boys, didn't she?
But as in...
Boris Johnson famously not a posh boy.
No, he's the most normal man in the world. And then, but two posh boys have stopped a working class person from Liverpool achieving the House of Lords. Do you know who else isn't in the House of Lords? Like, millions of people. It's not... I don't think any of us will ever be in the House of Lords. I'm at peace with that.
Ed. You got to believe in Ed Campbell.
Well, maybe, I will. You guys, you guys won't be. But I think it's the presumption being like, oh, you were promised this honour of, regardless of what you think of the existence of the House of Lords, whether it should be abolished or not, it is supposed to be this big, grand honour, and it's supposed to be a really integral part of the legislative system of this country. And it shouldn't just be used as like a bauble to reward a Prime Minister's lackeys. And I think it cheapens it entirely. Not that that's not new. It's been cheapened before. Like Michelle Mone being appointed was the stupidest thing in the world. But I think...
Why?
Why?
Put some respect on Baroness Mone's name.
Ugh.
Where's she the Baroness of? Do we know?
It's something like... It's insane. It's like Mayfair.
Sick.
It's so...
Where would you want
tacky.
to be? Where would you want to be Lord of? Where would you want to be?
Lord of?
baronet of a decent part of the country. Mayfair's quite punchy.
Aberdeen.
East Renfrewshire. That's where I'm from, technically.
Okay. It feels like it's probably taken.
I don't know. It's a council. I don't know.
I like the
does it need to be
No,
unique?
I think they just make it up, mate.
Oh, right, okay.
I think they just give you a bit of it. There you
Excellent.
go, have that.
That's mine
Have
now.
Renfrewshire.
Have this castle.
How
East
feudal
Renfrewshire.
does it get? Like, can you start like what?
I don't think you get to put up a castle and start charging land.
You get to take a rival lord's land.
Only if you beat him in ritual combat,
Yeah.
mano a mano.
Do you know what is quite feudal? We drove past. What is that Tory MP that you went down to look
Drax.
at?
Richard Drax.
Richard Drax. We drove past it on the weekend on the way down to Devon. It's huge, his estate that he's got down there. And it is actually a feudal estate. Did you know he rents back the farms to the... Was that what your whole piece was about?
No, the whole piece
Oh,
was
right, I was
about...
going to say.
Did you know?
Did you know all these facts about Richard Drax? Yes, I did. You can watch my 15-minute film about it.
Yes.
You drove past the Wall of Dorset, presumably.
Great Wall of Dorset.
Yeah.
That surrounds his estate.
Extraordinarily large, isn't it?
It's huge. It's absolutely massive. And
Yeah.
if you want to know more, watch my video about it on the PoliticsJOE channel. And don't listen to tidbits from Ava.
There's
Let's just go on hearsay.
I mean, that does actually.
Don't talk about my tidbits.
Wow. Wow. I mean, we didn't in that piece. We didn't really get into the question of land ownership, but it's a completely valid one, right? You know, it's something like, I'm bastardizing the statistics now, but it's about between 25% and 50% of England. We don't actually know because it's incredibly secretive about who owns large parts of the country. But somewhere between 25 and 50% of it is owned by less than 1% of the population, and the vast majority of those people can trace the lineage of their family owning that land back to the Norman conquest. It's in Arundel. It's inscribed on the castle at Arundel that's like, since William rose and Harold fell, a duke has sat at Arundel. And it's like, so literally medieval conquest.
There was a really good quote by the old Duke of Westminster. He was giving a talk to a school about, and it's like a Q&A thing, and he's like the richest man in Britain. And someone asked him, what advice would you give to like young aspirational entrepreneurs about how to become successful and rich, maybe as rich as you are one day? And he said, have an ancestor that was best friends with William the Conqueror, which
Bang on.
sums it up.
Bang on. Yeah, there's a good book on this called Who Owns England by Guy Shrubsole, which I would recommend
I
reading.
was randomly reading about American, what they called Ivy League universities this morning. And it's like 25 to 40% of their intake is hereditary. Like, so someone else
legacy admissions.
legacy,
Yeah.
that's it. It's extraordinary, isn't it? It's because there was this guy complaining about how he didn't get in and he had a perfect GPA and like, well, you know, SATs, whatever they've got to get. Everyone was just like, it's because you're such a dork. You should have gone outside and done some activities.